Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Condon UNSCRIPTED. Now, in this episode, I have a guest. I'm actually getting quite good at having some guests on the show now. When I first started this podcast, it was with the intention of sharing some unscripted behind-the-scenes aspects of videos and subject matters that I kind of create for my main channel. However, I really have enjoyed talking to like-minded individuals that are out there, you know, giving it their best from a fitness perspective, but also from a mental well-being perspective. And I've got a new guest this week. Now, her name is Lisa Hopkins. I'm going to introduce her now. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to my podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you on board. Now, I hope you don't mind me using this. How can I describe you to our viewing and listening audience? There's loads of stuff that you've done, which we're going to get into over the course of the next hour. However, one thing I did write down, and I hope you don't mind me using this term, but everyday hero, is that a fair way to describe you?
Oh wow. That's a huge compliment, but yeah, I try to be like that. Yeah, I'm very much a person that just tries to help everybody, you know, no matter what's going on in their lives, in my life, you know, I just love helping people, you know, so if that's people from my own team or other ladies or gentlemen on Zwift, then that's my main aim, really.
I wrote it down because I think that it's very easy. I say it's very easy. I haven't got any draw to get the superhuman, you know, athletes onto my podcast, which one day I hope to maybe aspire to. But I don't think I would move away from having individuals like myself who, you know, every day fight the battle, the good fight, to want to improve their health, want to get fit, want to stay fit, which is part of the battle. You know, I think I always say this to people: getting fit, I think, is only part of the struggle. It's also remaining fit in the world of Zwifting and running and cycling, specifically, because that's what we're going to talk about. But also from a mental well-being perspective, you're a big advocate for mental health, aren't you?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's so hard, you know, and, you know, I'll be quite open book in this podcast. You know, I was diagnosed with depression back in my 20s, didn't have a good life, won't go into that. But I find I struggle a lot with mental health, and my outlet is fitness, you know, whether that be running, whether that's on Zwifting, whether at the moment I'm on the rehab bench again, you know, so I'm helping my team organise a lot of events and things like that. So I think if I didn't have my fitness, my mental health would be in a pretty bad place, I think.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, it's weird because I'm making a video at the moment for this, my video this week, around my change from my original reason that I started running, or I started walking, then running, and then eventually got into cycling. My original rationale behind it was to lose weight. That was the sole purpose of why I started doing what I did and why I started.
And look how fantastic you've done.
No, thank you very much.
Amazing.
I appreciate. This is why I invite you on. This is.
Oh my gosh, Ryan! I've watched your videos from way back when, you know, and how you look now. I have to say it. You honestly, kudos to you. You've done amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, and same back at you as well. You know, I think that it's great to see progress, and we've been in contact for a long time, and we'll come on to that. But before we do, I was going to say that I'm making a video at the moment where the transition from why I started doing what I did was to lose weight, and that was the sole reason. I didn't have any major, you know, lofty goals of doing anything other than just losing a few pounds and becoming healthier. I was scared of becoming the 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, if I made it that far, you know, version of me at the place I was in. You know, I was, again, I'm pleased you shared and said the word, you know, the awful word depression. That's a horrible affliction for anyone to suffer with. You know, I didn't want to go from that person. I wanted to move on from that. And now I'm in a world where, I'm making a video this week about this, I'm in a world where my goal isn't to lose weight anymore. You know, obviously I want to become a better Zwifter, and part of that is to, you know, weigh the same as a pencil. and get up the climbs quicker.
FTP increases.
Yeah, exactly. Watts per kg. But for anyone listening to this that isn't into Zwift, probably won't get that reference. But my aim now, and very much my aim of my videos for my channel, is going to be around mental well-being. So, I'm pleased to be able to talk to you about that, and I'm hoping that we can have a really good conversation around what fitness gives us from that perspective. Before we get onto that, you touched on this. I'm going to let you introduce this, this next bit around how we started talking, how we came to know each other, and ultimately, which was, it's been a long time, why you're on the show today.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So I think probably maybe 2018, 2019, I was looking at entering a ultra event. And funnily enough, it would be like, and something I want to touch on as well today, imposter syndrome, big thing with me and some ladies in general. And I can remember someone saying to me, you wouldn't be good enough to do it. You can't do it. You're too fat. You're useless. And that was like red rag to a bull. So, and I can think, I was like, right, shall I do it? Shall I not do it? Googled it, had a look what it was. And then I thought, right, I need to go onto YouTube and try and find some videos. So I go onto YouTube, put in Race to the Stones, and up pops your channel. And I can remember, I think you made 2 videos about Race to the Stones.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I watched them so many times.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Oh,
yeah,
I did waffle on though, didn't I? I mean, 100k.
No,
across 2 videos.
honestly, they were fantastic. They were exactly what I needed at that time, because I really wanted to do it, but the imposter syndrome person inside of me was like, no, you can't do it. So I just remember watching your videos and thinking, yes, I want to do it. And then I kept watching your videos, and then I entered Race to the Stones, registered and whatnot. I carried on watching your videos. I just kept watching them all the time, because I was thinking like, okay, this is someone with, and I don't mean to sound,
no, go for it.
It's not going to sound derogatory.
Yeah.
You was a little bit larger then.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit larger then.
You're too kind.
And I was like thinking, well, if he can do it, and and you was walking and everything and doing bits of running with your friend, I was thinking, I can do that. I can do it. And imposter Lisa was like, no, you can't. So, and I think that's how we actually started talking, because I thought, okay, you're a guy that knows what you're talking about. So I was like, right, and I started talking to you, I think on YouTube first of all, and then over onto Instagram. Was how we first started talking. And then obviously I did Race to the Stones. What an amazing experience. We can talk about that more if you like. But
of course.
And then I think, how did it come about? I'm trying to think how it came about with you with Zwift. I think I started Zwifting in 2019 as well. And I think you asked me about different types of like trainers or smart bikes, what was worth it.
Yeah, I remember from talking to you about Race to the Stones, because I think we nerded out a little bit over Race to the Stones, because, again, it's a huge, and we will mention it actually, because I've got a funny, well, not funny, but I've got a story to tell you about Race to the Stones. But we kind of nerded out over, our love for Race to the Stones, because it was my first big challenge where I kind of really challenged. I mean, what a challenge to do. As a first experience, unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't have just done a park run like normal people. I had to sign up to a 100k walk, didn't I? But yeah, we nerded out over that, and then I knew that because I was in a place where I wanted to move out of just walking and running. At the time, I was doing quite a lot of running. I wanted to try and bolster my activity, and I was going to the gym and doing a lot of stuff in the gym, but I was enjoying the exercise bike. So I knew that you Zwifted. So I asked you about what trainer you used, and this is where we should probably email Wattbike and insist that they give us some kind of commission, because I've probably shifted more Wattbikes on the back of my videos on the back of your recommendation, because you were the one that told me to buy a Wattbike. And when I spoke to you,
I can remember, I think you had 3 smart bikes in mind.
Yeah, I did.
And I'd heard good and bad about the other 2. I'm not going to name them.
No.
But Wattbike, obviously, I'd been using for quite some time. So, and I'd never had an issue with it.
No, and that's all I wanted to hear. I didn't when I was looking into what bikes, when I was looking into what bike to buy, I was looking at I'll name them. I was looking at the Wahoo Kicker. The main two were I think there was another one.
Stages.
Yeah. And then I was looking at the Wahoo Kicker and the Watt bike, and I was umming and ahhing between the two. And this wasn't a problem you were facing, but I was worried because at the time I was really heavy when I was buying an indoor trainer. So I was worried. I heard quite a few people say that the Wahoo Kicker was quite flexible. So it moves, like the actual frame moves, even though it's not designed to have any movement in it, it does move because of the way in which it's designed. And the Watt bike was like a lump of metal. It was like literally sitting on a bronze sculpture. So it is solid. So that's and then so that's why I was leaning towards it. And then when you said to me that you use it, you've had no issues with it, that's all I needed to hear. Yeah. So that's why I bought it. It's a
fantastic bit of kit.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed using it. I mean, it's held up really well. And I've given it an absolute thrashing. I mean, I'm pound on it every day. How it's survived me, touch wood. I don't want to jinx it because if that goes, then they're expensive to fix. But you enjoy yours still? You have no issues?
Do you know what? I think I've had mine serviced once, and there's some small part had come loose. That's it.
Yeah. I think I need to do a service on mine.
Yeah, my husband rides it as well, and like you, he absolutely thrashes it to pieces.
Yeah,
and no issues. No issues at all. When the guy came round to service it, he said it's one of the clean for the age that it is, because it's the next gen one.
Yeah.
So for the age that it is, he said it's immaculate.
That's good.
You take really good care of it. So
yeah, that's good, especially if two people use it as well, because that's double usage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, during the winter, I pretty much race on it every day. And for the fact that it's held up really well. It's a really good advert for Watt Bike, isn't it? We should send it to them.
Yeah.
And say, let's get a sponsorship deal.
Damn right.
I looked straight down the camera as I say that. So, but I've got a rocker plate for mine now.
I saw that. So many people have said to me, right. So I have to tell you this. So I don't ride in real life.
Yeah.
I'm petrified of riding on the roads. So before I decided to get into triathlons, which obviously we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I need to train. What do I need to do? And I thought the triathlons that I was looking to enter, they was on closed roads, but I still needed to get used to having people around me and stuff like that. And I thought I can just go over to the park. So I put the bike on the car.
Yeah, I should put my phone on silent. Sorry to interrupt you there.
That's okay.
My phone going off in the background. Sorry.
That's okay. I didn't hear it anyway.
There we go. It's on silent now. Professional.
Thank you. Yeah. So, what was I saying?
So you was over the park, sprinting against people on their out on their rides.
I just thought, I can't do this. And then I thought, right, I need to get bike fit. How do I get bike fit? And that's how I decided. So I went to Halfords actually, and have you ever heard of the Tax Blue? It's a dumb trainer. So it's like a wheel on trainer.
Spelt TACX?
Yes.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And you have to put your sensors on. So your sensors on the wheel and your sensors on the pedal, etc., etc. So so that's that. I started with that, and I just don't like riding in real life. So as I'm always, just straight on the bike. And someone said to me, why don't you get like the rocker plate, the Omni Rocker? And I was like, I can't stand like that feeling. Obviously I've watched your videos of the Omni Rocker, and I was like, that feeling, I don't like it at all. It makes me feel sick.
Do you know what? So... I will say, I'm not sponsored by Omni Rocker at all. The guy, Martin, his name is, the guy that offered me the rocker plate, he did so completely out of the blue. I never contacted him. So, I've got no vested interest. I've got no commission. I'll get no monetary gain from him selling more, other than the fact he just seems like a really nice guy, and it's a really good product, genuinely. And I've always been one of these individuals that's always said that I will happily talk about a product if I use it, because I don't want to go down the road of promoting a product if I don't use it. I think that's a slippery slope. So I will say, having caveated that the Omni Rocker is a really, really good product. It's really well made, and you know, even though I've lost a shed load of weight, I am still, you know, a heavy guy. I'm not, you know, I'm not stick thin. I'm not Pogacar light.
Yeah.
So I do give it a good pounding.
Yeah.
And my sprint has significantly improved since I've used it.
Oh, fantastic.
Massively. And spoilers, because the last couple of videos I've made with the rocker plate makes it look like I am struggling with it a little bit. And I was, you know, it is a huge transition from being completely static to then having movement. And I understand what you mean, because I still have those moments where I forget that I'm on it, especially at the end of a race where I kind of lean on my handlebars and I feel myself go. And you know that feeling you get when you're on a roller coaster and you can feel your stomach just drop. I get that, but that's only at the end of the race, and it's only because I forget, and it doesn't happen anymore. So future videos you're going to see, hopefully anyway, that my ability to use the rocker plate or my ability to Zwift has been significantly improved by the rocker plate. I will recommend it, as if you're somebody who's been Zwifting for a long time and wants to progress and improve their, you know, cadence and balance and core strength. But one of the things it has done for me is your dog chewing on the wires.
He's just grabbed a letter.
Go for it.
I put a notice out on the door and said, do not post anything.
Oh, and they have.
And they have.
Yeah, and the dog's got it.
And the dog's got it.
If it's a bill, they can rip it out. Let them rip it out.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But one thing the rocker plate has improved for me is my endurance. And when I say endurance is my pain in my backside. So if you do a lot of long distance riding, then it has helped with that, because what it does is I think it improves the blood flow. I'm not an expert. But I think it has improved the blood flow. So I would recommend it from that perspective. If you're looking to develop your Zwifting, you know, ability, I suppose, or your endurance or longevity, I would recommend it. And it is a steep learning curve. One thing I could talk about the rocker plate for hours, as you can probably tell, and I won't bore you. Stop me if I am getting bored.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But it's one of them things where it is a really steep learning curve. So you've got one or two things. If you're somebody who's prepared to put the effort in to learn to change your style, because you get used to doing things in one way. So when I jumped on it for the first time with a rocker plate, I'd been Zwifting on my watt bike for 16 months, and I'd only ever learnt how to really cycle as an adult on my watt bike, not outdoors. So it was a steep learning curve, because I'd gone from being completely static to then having to learn how to kind of do it again, learn how to cycle again indoors. And anyone that doesn't do this, anyone that, you know, doesn't have a Peloton or a Zwifting bike or an indoor trainer, or even a, you know, just an exercise bike like the ones you get in gyms, you won't really understand the difference between doing it on that and then moving on one that moves. And the Omni Rocker does move quite a lot. It has got a lot of movement. It
does, doesn't it? Like, well, I've watched your videos and I'm like, it makes me feel sick. Because it's like the movement of it, and I just think, I just don't know if I'd get on with that.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I think you would. I think you'd. You know, I'm not trying to flog one. I haven't got an investment.
They want to give me one for free.
Yeah.
Camera.
Look down the lens. It always works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would recommend it. I would. And you know, anyone that's listening to this that's umming and ahhing, you know, whether you buy Omni Rocker or whether you buy one of the other brands, you know, I'm not pushing anyone to do anything, but I'm talking from my experience. I would never have gone out and got one. I don't think. I don't think I would ever have woke up one day and go, do you know what? I'm going to give one a shot, because I just thought it would have been a distraction from the main reason I Zwift, which is just to exercise and have some fun. That's the reason. But actually, now having one, I don't think I'd go back. I think if Martin contacted me and went, oh, do you know that rocker plate I gave you? I want it back. I think I'd be gutted. I think I would. I don't think... I
know... They are recommended, aren't they? I know like a lot of riders in our team have rocker plates from various brands, and they swear by them.
It is weird. It is weird, because I watch a lot of really good Zwifters, like A-cat Zwifters, and a few of them I'm in contact with, I talk to quite a lot, and they don't use them. They don't use them. So they're not like, you know, mandatory if you want to be successful on Zwift at all. So for anyone listening to this that doesn't want to invest, I think the one I've got is about £350 to buy. I could be wrong, you know. But I think
they're about that,
yeah,
aren't they?
roughly. I think you can spend up to 600 because I know that there are some that my one just has there's a plate here and then a plate there, and the plate on top is the one that moves.
Oh, yours just goes to side to side.
Only does side to side, whereas I know you can get ones that do this as well, that go forward and backwards. I didn't have the room for that, so I didn't get that one. Martin didn't bring that one. I only found out subsequently afterwards that there are ones that do other movements.
Yeah.
Which, I am over the moon with the one I've got. And it has I will say, I will give the rocker plate credit where credit's due. It has helped me in my cycling style, because I'm someone who likes to get out of the saddle. I don't know whether I've watched some of your streams. You stream some of your races, don't you?
Yeah.
On Zwift.
Yeah.
And I've watched, I will say, I watch, when you put them up, I watch them all. And you don't really get out of the saddle very much, do you?
No. Do you know what? Sometimes, I suppose it depends, one, how my legs are feeling and how much energy I have. If I'm a weird person, I don't always stand up to sprint as well.
No, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't.
So
it's quite,
I can get the same watts sitting and standing with my sprint. Although, my coach does say, you do need to stand up. It is better because you can use your body weight down the pedals anyway.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of climbing as well. Again, it depends how I'm feeling. So I can remember actually watching one of your videos, and you was talking about where you slow your cadence right down to, I think it was about 45, 46, and you was just rocking like that using your
really
weight
slowly.
So I started doing that afterwards, and I was like, wow, actually, that really does work. And I used it in a lot of races. And actually, to be honest, Zwift Games at the start of this year, there was some climbs up Titans and the Hilly Com and things like that.
Yeah,
I done that strategy, your strategy. I flew up, came first in those races because I dropped everybody. Just doing what
it does work.
It does work. So I do need to. I mean, at the moment, obviously, I'm not streaming a lot because I'm on the rehab bench. But when I get back, I do need to probably start the climbs over a certain percentage. I think stand up, just make it a little bit easier. And the
standing up, it does make a difference. Now, I watch quite a lot of Benji Nason videos. Have you watched him on YouTube?
I've heard of him. I've not watched him, to be honest.
He's a really good Zwifter. He's not too dissimilar to my style of Zwifting in the sense that he's on a weight loss, fitness, becoming a better Zwifter. He's a Cat D. I was going to say the same as me, but I've recently been promoted. So
you have, well done.
Yeah, but he's someone who sits down quite a lot. Sprints. He's got a wicked sprint. Much better than mine. He can access he can get in excess of 1,000 watts in a sprint. But he's learning. He's trying to get out of the saddle more. And he said in one of his videos about he finds it. He's scared of it. Basically, I think is what he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
No, that's true. Actually, it is. It's the confidence. If you're going along and you think, right, you're in a race and you're surrounded by a pack of men or ladies. And that you're all of the same capability. And if you're going really well and you think, right, sprint's coming up, I've got to stand. Sometimes I don't have the confidence in myself to be able to stand, knock it up a couple of gears and go. So I think that's fine. I'm going to stay sitting, knock it up a couple of gears and just sprint sitting. Yeah. So it's getting that confidence, to do that.
Yeah, and things for me, I've never raced or cycled really outside other than when I was a teenager. And the only races I ever did then was with my mates, and it was who could get home quickest. But so I've never really had that innate worry about bouncing off of someone who's either side of me. On Zwift, you just go through people. So there's no fear of hitting anyone. So I suppose, and also I learned that tip about standing and using my weight from a probably one of the best Zwifters I've ever had the privilege to race. Well, not race with. There was no racing me. He would annihilate me. He's an A+. Zwifter, and really good Australian guy. I'll give him a shout out because he's helped me a lot. So he's known as RT. His channel is RT Do It Your Own Way, and he's have you heard of him? Yeah. He's really, really good, and he did a ride with me around the big ring. He took me around the big ring back in the day, in my early days of Zwifting, and he taught me that tactic of when I was struggling to get up that big climb. on that route on Zwift, he just said to me, look, get out of the saddle, don't sit down, just lean. He said put it in a really high gear. Even though your cadence is shocking, this goes against all training that people will tell you on Zwift to get the best out of it, and just lean and use your weight, because then you're using something in your arsenal that's not going to expend more energy. And then the more I did it, the better I got. It
really does well. I've told my husband to do the same, and he does it now. So even though he's still not good at climbing. But
I love I don't know why I love climbing on Zwift. I really enjoy it, and it's made me want to go and climb in real life. I've done Box Hill and Ditchland Beacon now because of it, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, they were good videos, actually. They were good videos.
Oh,
it's funny because I like, you put Epic Com in front of me or Alp to Zwift, I'm like, oh God, I don't like. It's really funny. There's some climbs that I like. I suppose I'm kind of, like the Titans Grove type climb, where it's not too long. I think that's what it is. It's the long ones, because Alp
psychologically,
it
psychs you out.
And well done on your PR as well.
Thank you.
For Alp, So it's one of those where I think it's, because I've not done Ventop yet.
Have you not?
No, I don't have that badge, and I do need to do that badge, but I don't have that. But it's, although like on Alp, you've got the switchbacks, so okay, I've only got that till that switchback, or I've only got till that switchback. It's just that constant that I up a climb that I've got really good endurance. TTs, I smash TTs, and I'm not being big-headed there. I'm really good.
That's good.
Really good at TTs, but up the Alp or up Epic, I seem to struggle.
I think the challenge is, I've heard a lot of people say this, I quite enjoy Ventop. I've done Ventop 3 or 4 times. And the reason why I don't make videos about Ventop is, for some reason, it just doesn't have the same allure as Alp to Zwift does.
It's just
Alp to
straight
Zwift,
up,
Alp to Zwift seems a bit more sexy. If you say to someone, I've got a PB on Alp to Zwift, they're, oh wow, mine's this. What's your time? Whereas if I say it on Ventop, people kind of say what you did, which is, I've never done it. So they can't really relate to it. So I don't really make videos about Ventop for that reason. But I really like Ventop. I think I've got a bit of a, I've got quite an obsessive personality. My missus tells me this. And I can fixate on things. So I kind of like the whole just having to, which is why I like running 100k, because I can just get my head down, focus on that, and just stare at it as a challenge, and just keep going until I drop. Which is one of the reasons I kind of like doing endurance events. I've done quite a few on Zwift. I've done a few running ones. So it's one of those challenges. The dogs agree with me. They like an endurance event.
They're out in the conservatory,
barking at a bird in the garden.
Probably.
I've seen a squirrel. We've talked quite a lot about, obviously, both of our love of Zwift, and I think that's probably come across how much we love Zwift, and it's one of the reasons that we started talking about Race to the Stones. But I want to go back to some of your backstory. So anyone listening to this will be wondering, Lisa, who's Lisa? Why is she on the show? So do you just want to give a quick rundown of your fitness history, your the reasons you got into doing some of the things you've done, and then we can talk a little bit about some of those things?
Yeah, sure. So, oh gosh, we start way back when I was 10 years old. I actually started horse riding. So I went up to my aunt. So my aunt moved from London or Orpington up to Lincoln, and she had a small holding there. And she had this big old shire called Buddy. Sat me on him, and then she was like, go on then, pop over some jumps. And this horse had a big backside. And as he's gone over the jump, his backside's flipped up. I've gone flying out the front door. Absolutely loved it. From that point, I was just hooked on horses. So I started riding, when I was 10, having lessons and whatnot, and then started loaning my own horses, falling off, operations, broken bones, you name it. And then I think I was always going down the gym from probably around about age 18, 19 onwards. So I started going down the gym. Back then it wasn't as technical as it was now. It's like, the ladies used to go on the treadmills and the bikes and stuff, and they didn't really lift weights, and because ladies didn't do that. so I used to do that because I used to think, oh, this cardio is going to help me with like the horse riding because I used to show and stuff. So I started doing that, and then I thought it was my brother actually. So my brother is ex-services, and he came home on leave one day, and he actually went out and run the London Marathon. And this was when you didn't need like thousands and thousands of sponsorship money,
Yeah, yeah.
So
When you could actually get into it and raise a few £100 for good cause.
Yeah, 350 quid he raised for a hospice just around the corner to us back in Essex. And he was out the night before, as services people are, drinking. He came back and he went and done London Marathon 3.5 hours. Obviously, he's services,
So he went out for a night out, and then the next day boshed out a 3.5 hour marathon.
He came home, showered, went and done the London Marathon. Didn't even sleep.
Awesome.
I know, absolutely amazing.
Legend.
Yeah, I know, my brother's amazing. And I can remember talking to him about it, and he said to me, he goes, Lisa, he goes, you're too effing fat, you're too effing stupid.
Right.
You'll never do it.
Okay.
Right. So, and I found out later he was doing like the reverse psychology.
Okay. I'm pleased you put that context in then, because
yeah. At the time, I was like, so that's
so
it.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
No, he was trying to, because he knew I was like imposter. I've always had imposter syndrome way back from when I was a kid, and I don't know why, but I've always had it. Even like to this, I'm thinking like, why am I on this? Who am I to be on this? I really struggle with that. But anyway, but so I entered it, and I was 21.
Yeah.
So I was training a lot, like obviously you do, and running and whatnot. So I'd done the marathon, and then I think I just carried on with the horse riding, not too much down the gym. So that kind of went away for a little bit. And then I think I started a job in Dagenham, and there was a lady there that done a lot of CrossFit, etc. And so I was kind of like, postman, another postman. So I was like, oh, I'll sorry, just making sure the dog stopped barking.
Yeah, that's all right.
So she was doing CrossFit and stuff, and she said like, have you ever thought about doing triathlons? And I was like, no, I haven't actually. So I started Googling and whatnot. And funnily enough, there was one in Mile End. So I was like, fantastic. Like it was the first time they've ever held it at Mile End Sports Centre. So you did the swim in the pool. You did the bike on the spin bikes in the gym.
That's really cool. And
then you had a track. And I thought, do you know what? For someone like, I was absolutely pooping myself. I was so nervous, so scared. So yeah, I done the Mile End triathlon, and that was really good. I got in the pool, and they decided to change us because you had like 3 people to a lane, and the guy, I was like number 3, and the lady said, no, can you move up and get into number 2? And as I moved, I kicked the side of the pool and I broke my toes on my left foot, before I'd even started anything.
You broke more than one toe? Plural?
More,
my goodness.
So my adrenaline was through the roof.
You sound like me doing an event. Honestly, that's 100% something I would do.
I'm so accident prone, it's unbelievable. Yeah, so I did that, and then even the running, like I was running around, and I think then the adrenaline died down, and we went.
That's the thing people don't realise, because I always say to you, how was you able to carry on? But the adrenaline is the reason. Yeah. But we went to Nando's afterwards, because obviously that's just up. I don't know if you know, you probably do know Mile End, so it's just around the corner to the sports centre, and I was like, I could really barely walk on my foot, and I thought, this is ridiculous. They're little toes, Anyway, so so we'd done that. Did you finish the event, just out of interest?
Yeah. I finished it.
Amazing.
Yeah, finished it. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Then I was hooked. So then I entered Blenheim Triathlon, and I entered London Triathlon, and that was. They was meant to take place in 2020, and obviously COVID hit. So the London one got scrubbed completely, and my Blenheim Palace Triathlon got put back to 2021.
Okay.
So I ended up, obviously I done the triathlon at Blenheim. Wow.
Was that good? Was that in a similar format? So you kind of do it indoors on a spin bike?
No. This was so. The swim was in the lake,
Wow.
So luckily,
Okay.
you know, like at I mean, people won't know this, but at Lakeside, you've got the lake and you can swim.
Yeah.
Lakeside in Thurrock, and you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
swim there. So I was swimming. I'd done a lot of lake swimming in there, and I was practicing all my sighting and stuff like that in my wetsuit and whatnot. So I'd done a lot of swims there. Yeah, so that it was just amazing. Just being there in the grounds as well,
Yeah.
you know, and it was Mile End was your real entry level, you know, just dipping your toe into to triathlons. Whereas this was like qualifiers for bits and bobs that obviously I wasn't interested in all of
Yeah.
that. But again, so nervous, petrified, like literally I wanted to pull out. Like even when we got there, I was like, I can't do this. What am I doing here? Well, this
Yeah.
is stupid, you know. Why am I doing this? You
I
know,
think it's crazy. Sorry to interrupt you. I think it's crazy. Not crazy. Well, it is crazy.
it
But
is crazy. Yeah.
someone who wanted to, do something active, you didn't, like similar to me, you didn't just go, oh no, I'm going to go and do a park run, or I'm going to go out and join a running club and do some running with, just a couple of K, or even what most people do, couch to 5K, just being active. You went out and decided, I'm going to run London Marathon, I'm going to run some triathlons.
Yeah.
You started off big.
Yeah. And do you know what I think it is? I think, this is going way back. Really opening up now. So when I first started horse riding, the stables that I was at, I was bullied.
Right.
And they always said, that you're never going to be good enough to do anything. And it really stuck back then. My brain was like a sponge, and it took all of that in. Everything that those girls said to me, it took in.
How old were you, may I ask?
I was 12.
Oh, so you was quite young. Okay.
Yeah.
You are going,
actually, no, it was 10 to 12. So I was down there for 2 years. And the horse side of it, fantastic. But being around those ladies, awful. I mean, I'm not going to mix my words. That was horrible. It was horrible. And a lot of my confidence issues, like, I'm 44 years old now, and a lot of my confidence issues still hark back to that, So, and it's always kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I need to prove myself. I need to prove my worth.
Yeah.
And I don't need to do that.
No, you don't. No.
But for some reason, I feel like some people say to me, why are you always, like ZRL, Swift Racing League, I'll go double up races. Why do you need to do that? Well, why not?
Yeah.
But why do I need to do that? It's as if I have to prove to people that I'm worthy to be in this team, to be in previous teams, or the running side of it. I've got to prove my worth, that I'm good enough to take part in like a triathlon, a marathon, an ultra marathon.
There seems to be, because you've mentioned it a couple of times, if you don't mind me saying, I don't want to do Sigmund, I don't want to go all Sigmund Freud on you.
No, that's fine. No.
But you've mentioned a couple of times about where people have said to you where you're not able to do this. You use language. I'm not going to repeat it because it's horrible language, toxic language.
Yeah.
But you gave some examples of where people have said you can't do this.
Yeah.
And it that really resonates with me, because one of the reasons I signed up to Race of the Stones, right? Because other people that I knew had done it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a challenge, and I just thought, I don't know what challenge to apply for. I don't know anything about fitness. I weighed a ton, so I had no experience of fitness at all. So because I didn't know what to sign up to, I just thought, well, that will do, because other people I knew who weren't athletes, they weren't marathon runners, they weren't ultra marathon runners, they weren't people, but they were just normal, like colleagues, work colleagues, and they were just normal people. So they signed up to it. So I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it, surely. And the reaction I got from people, it really hit me quite hard, like, because I was very big, and I'd always, all my life, you've got to remember, what you see now and what people see on YouTube is not what people remember me as. Ex-work colleagues, I'm not in that industry anymore, but ex-work colleagues, family, friends, these are people that, if I haven't seen them for a long time, they look at me now and go, wow, you look, it's not how people remember me. I was huge, I was a big guy. I've always been a big guy. And what comes with that is a reputation of someone who is lazy, doesn't exercise, doesn't really do anything. And I was, if I'm honest. So when I told people I'd signed up to Race of the Stones, those that knew what Race of the Stones was looked at me like the look that I got.
Yeah.
It really affected me. And I remember thinking I had two options at that point. I don't, I had the option which is believe them and believe what I was told, which was you'll never do it. You'll never finish it. I was like, mate, what are you doing? Like the people that had the confidence to tell me this, because I'm quite a confident guy. So if someone calls me out, I'm going to be like, who are you talking to? But those that had the confidence to tell me this, friends and family, they were like, mate, seriously, you're going to kill yourself. Like, give your head a wobble. If you want to go out and do something, just go for a walk. You haven't got to do this. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm going to bloody do it.
Yeah.
Oh, he agrees.
Oh, sorry,
that's
the little puppy. No. So it is. It's so hard, and you try not to listen to those people.
Yeah, but I think you should listen, and I don't mean it as in a sense of you should believe it. Don't believe it. 100% do not believe it, but you should listen, because those people are projecting their own insecurities onto you. That's not how they see you. That's how they see themselves. Yeah. They don't want you to achieve it, because if you achieve it, it means that they're not. Yeah. Yeah. And people don't like to have the mirror held up to them like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah.
But it's just it's mad, isn't it? How mental health or imposter syndrome, how much that can affect what you do. I've had it. I'm going to use Swift Games, for example. I was in the front pack, and it was a women's only race.
Yeah.
And there was 5 of us, and my coach was like, he'd said to me previously, oh, you should win this. He looked at all the stats and whatnot, and you should win this. And that straight away, I was like, okay, he's expecting me to win this. Oh my God. I've got to make sure I do this, everything right, because I was like, I don't want to let him down. I don't want to let the team down. And I can remember we was coming up, and we had like about 1 kilometre to go, and we was finishing on a uphill sprint. I think it was like Acropolis. It's one of those new ones, Acropolis or Sasquatch or something like that, woodland sprint. And I was thinking to myself, right, okay, I've watched the recons. I know when I'm going to go. I know when I'm going to hit my power up. But for that 1 kilometre, I was literally like, Lisa, you're not going to win this. What are you doing? You're not going to win this. You're not good enough. All these ladies are better than you. What are you doing? You don't deserve to be here. You don't belong here.
That's what you were saying to yourself in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm saying out loud, no, Lisa, you are good enough. You are good. I mean, if anyone heard me.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much I used to get it. Like when I used to show my horse, he was really good. And I mean, we placed, well, pretty much every competition we showed at, we either came first or second. He was a magnificent horse. But even then, when I was in the ring and I was doing, the bits and bobs that you have to do, I was still like, you're not a good enough rider, Lisa. You're not doing the best you can for Ben, not my horse. And it used to cripple me sometimes. Just used to like turn to concrete. And it's amazing how much that can affect you,
I agree. I think a lot of people listening to this, watching this, I think would really relate to what you're saying. I relate to it 100%. I think we all have that inner voice. If we haven't had a trainer and a sports psychologist in our ears telling us we have got this, which none of 99.9% of us that just want to get out there and be active, none of us have that. So I think we can resonate with what you're saying. And our biggest critic, the person that's our biggest advocate and biggest critic at the same time as ourselves.
Absolutely.
We're never ever going to find anyone that's ever going to criticise as hard as we do to ourselves. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's why it's very important that we listen to the people, the naysayers, the toxic bullies out there, as you described them. We should listen to them, not take on board, not believe it. But that's what we need to take what they say and know that's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
And move on from it, because you've achieved some great things. Some of the things I wanted to ask you about. So you mentioned about the London Marathon.
Yeah. So
how many times have you run the London Marathon?
So I've run it twice in real life and twice virtually.
Wow. Okay. So four times you've done the London Marathon, and you've done it 2 virtually and twice in real life. How did you? I've been applying to the London Marathon. I've done it once. And I've
So
been applying every year. I can't get in.
yeah. So the first time was when I was 21. So I done it for guide dogs. So I done the charity.
Yeah.
The second time it was the 40th anniversary of the London Marathon, and it was on my 40th birthday.
Oh wow.
Or my 40th year. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or it was just pure luck, but I managed to get a place, and obviously it was cancelled because of COVID. So we ended up doing the actual marathon in 2021, which I believe is when you and Holly done it, because I was laughing away when I was.
So you were in the same year that I did it?
Yeah, it was in the same year. I think I was in Pen 14.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think oh wow, I think I was 15.
Yeah.
So we would have been literally on the same strip of grass.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
So you was you on that really muddy field at the kickoff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but oh my gosh, what an experience.
Amazing.
Do you know what? When I think of the London that I'd done when I was 21 and the London that I did when I was 41, the atmosphere, obviously because it was the first London after COVID, I ran down Embankment just sobbing because of making it, for a start, because again I didn't believe I should be there, but making it, but also like the cheering and the clapping, and
it was
that
amazing.
atmosphere. Oh my gosh, if you could bottle that, like when you turn down into Birdcage.
I've never seen an atmosphere. You're absolutely right. The atmosphere was electric.
Oh, it's making all my hairs stand up. It was amazing, and when because at the time I was working in Canary Wharf, and we actually run past my building. And I was like, yay, had a picture taken in front of the building. But you had like the guys there on the big, the steel drums. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
You had that going, and you know, like when you run down all the roads, and if there's pubs there and they've got music blaring, it was just one of the best atmospheres
it was
ever.
Amazing. It was.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
The thing is, I think it's the closest. I've said this to other people. I think it's the closest mere mortals like me will ever get to the feeling that Olympians get in running, around an athletics track.
Yeah.
It's the closest feeling.
Yeah.
Because the public are there and everyone wants to see you do well and everyone's cheering you on. And I always give this a piece of advice, a tip to anyone that's going to run the London Marathon, right? Forget about all your training and all stuff like that. If you want to get a real runner's high, put your name on your T-shirt. Get a T-shirt that has your name on it, because I never did this, but other people have. And when I was running it, everyone was going, "Oh, Dave, oh, Sarah, woo, go!" And everyone's clapping. And I thought, "Oh, I wish I had my name on my T-shirt."
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, my nickname back then was Crazy Pants.
Right.
So when I first started off on Zwift,
don't lie, it's your nickname now as well, isn't it? You still,
no,
it's still your
nickname now. I've stopped using it.
You go around telling me, "Call me Crazy Pants." You said to me, introduce me as Crazy Pants at the start of this podcast.
It's funny though, I still get people text me, "All right, Pants." Yeah, so I had Crazy Pants on the front, and you did, "Go on, Crazy Pants, go on." And I chuckled to myself.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's like,
it's lovely.
That's definitely me.
It's one moment, a very short moment in your entire life where you feel good about people cheering your name.
Yeah.
Unless you're out there like, I don't know, winning the World Cup or getting gold at the Olympics, it's mere mortals just don't experience that atmosphere. And that's what it's about. The London other marathons are about getting PBs. The London Marathon is about...
London's just, it's something else, isn't it?
Yeah. It's about the atmosphere and having fun and enjoying the whole thing that goes with it. It's amazing. Yeah. So well done for doing it 4 times.
Thank you. So actually, one of the virtual ones, I ended up running down the A127, which you'll know that road.
Yeah.
So I lived in Cranham at the time.
I was going to say, why? Why have you run down there?
Do you know what?
Of all the places you could have enjoyed
there's a perfectly good path that goes all the way down, a roundabout, all the way back up. And because I've driven up and down the 127 thousands of times, so I was like, I know that road like the back of my hand,
So other people, when they do virtual marathons, they would have done, I don't know, a woodland pathway, the Thames Path, a lovely stroll, an area that they could have done it in greenery, farmers' fields. You chose to do the A127.
The A127 arterial road. I tell you what, though, there's a lot of traffic, and like there were traffic jams, and people were stopping, getting out of their car and clapping at me.
Were they?
And cheering. Yeah. Honestly, it was amazing. When I was at up by Gallows Corner in Romford, like waiting to cross the roads with the traffic lights. I had people like winding the windows down and like, well, you don't wind windows down anymore, do you?
No.
But I was like, oh, go on, crazy pants. Like, how far have you got to go? And I was like, still got 26 miles because I've literally just started.
Oh, that's
I
the
was like,
worst, isn't
oh,
it?
no,
It's when people shout
like,
at you, not far, not
not
far
not
left.
far. Only got 25 miles left. But
Yeah.
no, that was brilliant. So I ran all the way down. Well, I didn't run. I shuffled all the way down to the Wickford roundabout where the Dogs Trust was.
Yeah.
Went round that roundabout and then all the way back up. But that mentally, that was the hardest out of all four. That was the hardest because I got to about, I think probably mile 21 and my lungs and everything started playing. So I'm asthmatic and I've got vocal cord disorder, which basically means my vocal cords close and I can't breathe.
Right.
So there's certain things that trigger that. And where
running 26 miles, I bet, is one of them.
One of them, yeah. Yeah. So I was coming
Funny
back
enough,
up
my vocal cords and my lungs closed when I run it as well.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, I was coming back up the 127 and it was kind of like you listen to your body, don't you? You know when your body's getting tired. And I was like, right, I need to walk now. No, you've walked long enough. Come on, let's just shuffle. Not jog, not run, a shuffle. Let's just shuffle. No, it's a little bit too much. And I reckon from probably about mile 22 in, it was kind of like just cry. And then I was shouting at myself, come on, Lisa, you can do it, and all the swear words that are coming out, which is like the way for me to motivate myself. Then I'd cry, and then like Mark, my husband, he drove past and he was bibbing. I completely broke down, just sobbing my heart out.
Yeah.
And then there's this little bit where you come up to Upminster and you can cut through a woodland. And that was my last 0.2 of
Did you say this area is far too nice and pretty to be running through? I need to hit the M25.
I actually did run past the M25 turns. So like the exit routes and the entrance routes, I had to run over those. So for the M25, yeah. So but Mark was there and he filmed my last bit, and because like on the phone you can hear the virtual marathon, and it says like you've only got so far to do it because you have to obviously record it on your phone. And I literally just broke down right at the end of it, just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. So like mentally,
fair play. I've got to be honest, doing the virtual version, and this isn't taking anything away from your achievement, but the virtual does not interest me at all. And the reason why, it's 100% harder, 100%. Doing that and not having that atmosphere at the end of it, especially, must be really tough. Yeah,
you've definitely, the physical side is there. You're not worried about that.
No.
The mental side, that is 26 miles of mental fortitude for that.
Yeah. What was your, out of the four, I'm going to put you on the spot now, what was the four? Because when I had Holly, I know you're friends with Holly, and Holly was a previous guest, so she did the marathon as well, in the same year. It's really weird that all three of us did the same marathon in the same year. But what was your fastest out of the four?
They was all in, the fastest I think was about 5.5 hours.
Amazing. That was really good time. I'll tell you now, my quickest, well, I've only done it once, 6 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So you smashed it. You beat me.
Yeah.
I've
always wanted, like, don't get me wrong, I keep saying, like, I'll do it again. I want to do it again. Third time lucky, and I want the 4.5. But I'm not allowed to run now at the moment. So
you've got a knee injury, haven't you, at the moment?
I have a knee injury, which I did running and then cycling, doing back-to-back races, a certain tour series. Yeah. And I took no notice of the pain in my knee, and I carried on. And I've just.
And you regret it since?
I've regretted it massively since, because that's two years worth.
Injuries are a tough gig, man. I will, I'll give you that, because I'm lucky, touch wood, that I haven't really had anything other than self-inflicted wounds. Yeah. Where I've, but you get over them quite quickly. That's why I never worry about, breaking a toe or losing toenails from long runs or blisters, because you recover from them really quickly. But the injury, what kind of injury is it? Just for those that are listening, understand.
So when I first, I heard, just around the back here, we've got a hill, and I was running down here when I was a lot bigger then. And I felt a pop in my knee, and I was like, oh, that hurt. Okay. So I walked back home, rested it for a couple of days, and then...
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hang on, give it 2 seconds. I've just lost your signal completely. When it happened before, and when it lost it, you go out of sync, so you freeze, and then your words don't match your lip movements. Just give it a second to catch up, and then I can edit this out.
Worries.
Don't worry.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, you're back.
Yep.
So you was out back.
Yeah, so I was running a road round the back, and it's downhill, and I felt a pop in my knee. And I heard the pop in my knee as well. So I was like, oh, okay, that hurt. So I came back, took 3 days off, taking paracetamols, ibuprofen, and then the tour series started on a Zwift, one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And me being me, I just entered it. But it got to the point that after about the third race, because they were back-to-back races for 10 days, people will know what series I'm talking about.
What series is it? I don't. Is it?
Flamme Rouge Racing.
Flamme Rouge Racing.
FRR.
I was about to say
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. My favourite series. And it got to about the third day, and I'd get off the bike and I couldn't put any weight on my leg at all. My knee was out here. Wow. It was swollen. It was so bruised. But because I'm just a silly mare and I didn't take any notice of what my body was telling me, I just carried on, just popping tablets. And then it got to the point where I couldn't walk up and down the stairs. So I'd have to shuffle like on my bum down the stairs, and hop up and think. And I was like, no, Lisa, ridiculous.
Really
just stop, So I went to the doctors and they was like, yeah, MRI straight away. So they said what I'd done is inflamed the patella tendon. So where your kneecap is and your tendon comes down here onto your shin bone. So I'd inflamed that. So 4 months off, which was just hell on earth for me, because that's my mental place in there. It was so hard.
And where are you in that recovery?
So that was 2 years ago.
Right.
So I came back, started racing, getting a few niggles, and I was like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. The start of this year, again, straight back onto FRR again, Flamme Rouge, started getting all the same pains again. Went back for another MRI, and then they said, no, we think you've got runner's knee, which, I'm not being funny, runner's knee covers like absolutely everything. So I think it was more of, we don't really know.
It's like tennis elbow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like,
it's another way of saying we don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. So I had 3 months off, came back, started racing again, but it's just hurting again. Like I'd done a 20-minute zone 2 ride the other day. And my knee, I took a picture of it. It's like my kneecap's red and I've got bruising, like all just down here. It's from 20-minute zone 2 ride, which is nothing.
Yeah,
my
I saw
zone
your
2
post on
like,
Instagram. Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
I'm gonna go back to the doctors basically and get it checked again and see. I didn't realise I actually got private healthcare through work. So I might go. I'm probably gonna go down that route and just get that checked. I mean, I'm coming back into cycling, and this time I'm coming back in via what my coach is telling me, because I didn't have a coach like the first time, the first and second time I injured it.
Sure.
So I'm taking notice, but it's really hard. Like, I organise or I help organise a lot of the teams for like the ladies series that are happening at the moment, and other bits and bobs, and I recruit for my team, and it's really hard when you're watching all the racing and you read all the messages and everyone's like, yeah, you've done fantastic, and it's just like, oh.
I know. It is a tough gig. And do you know what? I couldn't imagine not being able to race on Zwift or go for a run. So, I really feel for you. And I genuinely hope that your recovery is swift. Excuse the pun. But I hope it is quick and, efficient. And there's nothing worse than not being able to do it, knowing that you've done it and probably made it worse, and then not knowing what to do now moving forward for the best. Yeah. So, I hope you get the...
Thank you.
I think advice is probably what you need, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're
I just need someone to say, it's this. I need to go to like a knee specialist, and I need that person to say, right, it's actually this, and this is what you need to do.
Someone who doesn't brush you off with runner's knee. Yeah, it's runner's knee. All right, how much time do I take off? Well, however much you feel like. Oh, really? Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, I could have stayed home and advised myself of that. Before we move on, I just wanted, this has been great talking to you, and I just want to talk about one last subject before we end, because we're coming to the hour now. Yeah. But Race to the Stones. I wanted to end it on a high.
Yes.
our favourite subject.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, Race to the Stones. So I loved it. I loved doing it.
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah.
find it?
Um, I'm not going to say relatively easy. I think because I didn't go
I'm
out
pleased you don't say
there.
relatively. It nearly killed me.
You know, like some people, they're going out there and, you know, like when
Yeah,
the whistle starts and everyone rushes off and it's like,
yeah,
right, you're going for a PB, you know, I'm not doing that, you know. So y- like up the hills I walked, down the hills I
yeah,
walked, you know.
yeah.
I done it with Mark, my husband. He injured himself because he got the I need to tell you this story. So I entered it and I wanted to run. Right?
Yeah.
So
Had you ever
Mark
run
came.
before you entered it? Had you ever run an ultra before, or any
No.
distance further than marathon distance?
No, not really. No, I trained up to marathon distance for the ultra.
Yeah,
So we did the like what you did, the 50-kilometer stay overnight and then the
yeah.
50. So and Mark had only trained up to 10K because Mark's one of these where he thinks
He
he
only
knows
trained up to 10K.
Yeah. Right. So
Well, did he do
and
this thing? Did he do this thing where? Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, but this is
No, that's
brilliant.
fine.
I love hearing this. Is right up my street. When someone rocks up at an ultra marathon having only trained 10K, did he
Yeah.
say to you, "It's all right, I just got to do 10K 10 times"?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that what he said?
pretty much.
I
Pretty
love
much.
that. That's
Yeah.
so good.
And he's like, but he's one of these. He's like got loads of energy, like it's something
Yeah.
to do with his
Good luck
adrenal
to him.
glands and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And he's like, it's fine, Lisa. I'm gonna be fine. Don't worry about me. And I was like, yeah, all right, okay. Like I knew better. So he was stopping every couple of minutes to take pictures, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
We're never going to get to the end
And I was
of
like,
this.
come on, I want to run.
Yeah.
And he got the hump,
Right.
right? He got the hump, and he shot off.
Right.
And as he shot off, he landed on a stone that was sticking up, but it was like that.
Yeah.
And as he landed, he went over on his ankle. So for the rest of that day, we walked. I was fuming. He knows this because he'll watch
It
this.
sounds like you had a great time.
Oh, I was fuming. Don't get me wrong. I felt sorry for him because I could tell like he's got a real high pain threshold.
Yeah.
But I knew he was struggling. But I was so angry because I wanted to run.
Yeah.
You know. So, but anyway, we got that done, and then when we got to the tent, because we booked for one of those, you know, the posh tents.
Yeah. The glamping.
And it was so nice. It was lovely in there. We had a proper bed and everything. But he was in like a massive amount of pain, and like I checked his ankle and it was black, massive swollen black. And I said, right, you're not doing it. I'll sort you out a cab in the morning. Go back to the hotel because we were staying local. I think the hardest part for me, because so obviously the first day wasn't hard because like we was walking, he was still stopping to take pictures. No, but we was plodding.
Yeah.
You know, we was out for a leisurely
How would
stroll
you
on that day.
how would you describe for anyone listening that doesn't run ultra marathons, doesn't walk ultra marathons, doesn't know what they are? How would you describe Race of the Stones to someone that doesn't know what it is?
Oh gosh, do you know what? I say scampering across the countryside.
Yeah.
You know, you're over stiles, you're through gates, you're through fences. Stunning scenery, absolutely stunning scenery.
Yeah.
But then, you know,
you probably
you've
didn't
got
like
ruts.
that. You probably needed a few motorways to get you. You're like, this is too nice. I can't run this.
Yeah, but Race to the Stones for me. Just a fantastic experience. Everyone was so friendly, so friendly. Like people kept stopping to say to Mark, like, do you need any help? Do you want us to, like, carry you to the next aid station and stuff like that? So we dropped him off. So when we got to the overnight stay, when we woke up in the morning, because I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I looked at Mark's ankle again. I was like, it was just massive, pure black. And I was like, right. So he went, and I think I left. I think you could leave at 6 a.m. and I think I pretty much left at about 6:05 in the morning.
Yeah.
And when you came out, I don't know if you remember if it was like it when you was there. It was really rutty.
Yep.
Like that sandstone, limestone. Sorry, it was limestone downhill, and he was sliding.
It was unbearably tough to run on. Yeah, really tough. And the ending as well. Do you remember the rutting on the farmer's field at the end?
Yes.
As you got up to the stones.
Yeah. Yeah. So
which is why it's called Race to the Stones.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realise. This is how much research I did. When I got to the end, I was like, oh, there are actually stones.
Yeah.
And then
but it's not the end.
It's not the end, because you've then got it really, that, I don't know why, but that really got to me. Like I had the right hump at that point.
Yeah.
And there were two girls there that obviously knew it was annoying people because they were like really trying to motivate everyone and go,
Yeah,
hi guys,
yeah.
high-fiving everyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you making us walk past the finish line? Because you literally walk past the finish line and you have to go like another 3 miles up to the stones just to get a picture, walk around the stones, come back, and then got to, like, psychologically, that broke me.
Oh, yeah, it was so hard. I mean, I was quite lucky in that when we set off, I think I got to the first aid station, which was at 60 kilometres.
Yeah.
And there was a guy there, and he came out, and I started trailing him. I was drafting him.
Yeah,
I was
drafting
like,
him.
I was drafting him.
Yeah, I do that running now.
At my pace.
Yeah, I do that.
And after about 5 minutes, he's like, "Are you going to run by the side of me so we can talk?" So I was like, "Oh, okay."
No, did you go? No, I need your draft.
Well, funnily enough, right, his name was Mark.
Yeah.
And we ended up running the rest of the race together. And I must admit, I think you really needed that, because there were points when do you know what? I don't know where I was because I was pretty much delirious at this point. I can just remember going up a hill in a massive, massive field, going up a hill, and there was a stile at the end, and you had all the cows there, and you had people coming down. I think there was like a mountain bike race. So guys were coming down like at stupid speeds, and we're trying to, obviously, like, your legs are knackered, you can't move that quickly. Yeah. And I remember just crying all the way up there, and he was like, "Come on, Lisa, like, move your effing ass," and you know, and things like that, because that was the way he knew to get me going. But then, you know, 15 minutes down the road, you know, this guy, he was exactly the same. He was really struggling, and I was saying, you know, your wife's going to be there, you know, you can do it, you're strong enough to do this, you've done all the training, you know, we're two people, we've never met one another before. Yeah. And I can remember, like, we got to the stones, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. I went into full, like, meltdown. So he handed me a packet of Skittles, and he was like, just eat some Skittles. So I was like, ate the Skittles. And then as you come back through like that farmer's area, and it's all muddy and slurry and disgusting, and you go up that hill, and then you go across to the finish line. And I can remember we ran down there, we were holding hands, and both of us were just crying as we crossed the finish line in hand, like holding hands. And then it was just like, whoa. And then his wife was there. Mark was at the hotel, and then it just started raining, and like I couldn't move.
Oh, that's awful.
I couldn't. I'd sat down, and everything.
I don't remember finishing. First off, congratulations,
not?
by the way, because that's awesome. And it's lovely to hear like another version of it, which isn't too dissimilar to mine. Because there were moments where I was like, I didn't know whether I was going to finish.
Oh man, it's so hard.
And there was moments where I got, how can I describe it? I was like, there was no logic to my reactions to things. Like, I was at a point, I remember the last pit stop, and there was a guy there, really nice guy, really, really genuinely nice guy. Yeah. And he was motivating everyone, going around, and he knew that he really did sense the tone of the room, where he was trying to be jovial and cheerful, but not annoying. Yes. Do you know when you get, I remember when first time I ever did London, the Thames Path, 100k, the last pit stop, there was a guy there that was making like stupid jokes around. He was just annoying. Like, he was. You
just don't need that,
and it was just like, I feel awful, mate. Like, please, just rein it in a bit. And this guy really got it in Race to the Stones, and he was giving it. He was going around offering people drinks and food, because he knew that people just wanted to sit for a minute just to just to gather their thoughts. And I remember him saying to me, I said, "How far left?" Because I'd lost all concept of distance, and this was before I actually planned. Like, when I do an ultra now, I plan it. And I've got 10k in my watch, and I've got a list of where the pit stops are, and I've got strategy at each pit stop, and I've got nutrition. I've got a nutritional plan. I didn't do any of that. Yeah. And I said to him, "How far left?" And he went, "Oh, it's not far. Oh, just over that hill." And I got over the hill, and I was like, there is loads left. There was like another 10 miles. Yeah. It was like, mate, you've just destroyed me mentally. Yeah. Like, I was thinking I was just going to be... Anyway, little things like that really got to me. Yeah. But it was a good learning curve. Really, really good learning curve. Yeah. And
so I recently volunteered, actually. There's up in Nottingham. It's the Robin Hood 100 miler. Right. And I wanted to do the event. I was actually registered to do the event in 2026, but I can't do it because of my knee. Yeah. Because I've just been told not to run anymore. Right? Yeah. So
just forever, or for now?
Forever.
Never run again. Yeah. Oh, that's really tough to hear.
It is very hard. Very hard.
Have you thought about going back and doing it as a walking event?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can on this particular.
Yeah,
event.
I mean, just one that you can, like Race of the Stones or the Thames Path.
I'll run.
Yeah.
If I've got my trainers on and I'm in a running event, I will run. I won't be able to not do it.
Yeah.
You know. So but yeah, I volunteered at this event, and we was at the last aid station, which was 96.2 miles.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. 98.2 miles, sorry. And seeing some of those people that come in, again, like we had one guy that came in, and so we took over at 6 o'clock in the morning. So and this was only like about a month ago. And this one guy, I just remember him coming in, and he was all over the shop. He couldn't walk properly. He was in a right mess, which understandably so. You know, you've just run 98 miles. And his two little boys were there, and they was just like, "Oh, Daddy, we love you. We're so proud of you." Honestly, everyone that was there just burst out crying, and it was just amazing just to see. I mean, hats off to these people. Just it was amazing.
It is amazing.
I can't explain what that was like for me, but
I'd recommend to anyone listening or watching this podcast to give something like that a go. And I don't mean you don't have to go and do 100k, because that's you know, mental, or 100 miles, even more mental.
Yeah.
I just anything that's out of your comfort zone, and because you learn a lot about yourself, but you also get to meet people, you know, like you, that are there, motivational, you know, just awe-inspiring. I just think that's one of the reasons I keep coming back. Because I get to meet people that I just will never meet. You just don't meet these kind of people. You don't.
Like, I've got friends now on Facebook from that, you know, volunteering for that event, you know, and they're just it's brilliant.
It is a good event.
I've got a quote, actually. Can I just read it?
Absolutely.
I saw this last night, and I thought to myself, this is just perfect. So, fitness is more than just moving weights or running miles. It's an opportunity to build mental toughness. Every time you push past your limits, you're not just training your body, you're building mental resilience, unlocking hidden reserves of strength, and learning how to keep going when things get tough. That strength you gain when you work out translates to you every aspect of your life, helping you conquer challenges with new minds. I just thought that I read that last night, and I thought, that's amazing. What an amazing quote.
That's a great quote. That is a great quote. And it's almost like we had planned it. I really liked that, because that feels like a perfect point to end this podcast on. Yeah. Lisa, I just want to say a big thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. That quote was perfect to end this on. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. I just think, you know, if you suffer from mental struggles, imposter syndrome, anything like that, just believe in yourself. You know, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. Don't listen to those voices.
Absolutely.
That's all I'd say.
Yeah. And do you know what? I completely agree. Imposter syndrome, I don't think you should suffer with that anymore. You know, you've smashed it. You've smashed it with some of these events that you've gone out and achieved. You know, you obviously have loads of mental resilience, and you've smashed it on this podcast.
Thank you.
You've done a great job. Literally one of the best guests I've ever had. I have to be careful when I say that. But I don't want to offend anyone else that's been on. But yeah,
I'll send you the check later.
Yeah, literally one of the best guests I've ever had on.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so you know, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I want to wish you all the best in your training. I know you're going to be on Zwift. Yeah. Maybe we can get into a ride together in Watopia. Yes. That would be awesome. Yes. I'm doing the Rafa 500 this year.
I know.
So I don't know whether you're in a place. I'm doing one on Christmas Eve at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. So I don't know if you're in a place where you're up for.
I'll join. Yeah, I can only ride for like a certain amount of time at the moment. So, but I'll join. Yeah, send me the link.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to have you on board.
Yeah,
and you know, even if it's just for a few K, you know, whatever you feel is relevant. That's kind of why I'm doing it. I want to just want to have a bit of fun with it, really. Yeah. You know, we'll only push like, I don't know, 400 or 500 watts. Just try and hold that for as long. I love how you just went, okay, I can do that. 400 or 500 watts for 100K.
On your own.
yeah. See you, Ryan. Off you go. I'll last for all the 15 seconds before I blow up, and then have a connection issue. But I just want to say, look, well done for everything you've achieved, and I genuinely wish you all the best with your knee injury. I hope it recovers.
Thank you.
And I hope you get back to fighting form. So yeah,
thank you very
well
much.
done, awesome. So look,
Thank
guys,
you.
I just want to say a big thank you to Lisa for joining this. I want to say thank you for everyone that's been listening to the show so far. We've gone slightly over our normal hour, but it's been well worth it. It's been great to talk to Lisa, and I hope to see you in next week's episode of Ryan Condon Unscripted. Cheers, guys.